If you're still explaining your business to ChatGPT like a temp worker with amnesia, you're wasting 12 work weeks a year. And I'm about to fix that in 20 minutes. Hey. Welcome to She's That Founder Tuesday edition. These are the strategic deep dives where we break down frameworks and tools and discuss mindsets that turned overwhelmed female founders into confident CEOs with AI as your co-pilot. In today's episode, you'll learn the 3 custom GPTs every female founder needs, the decision maker, the brand voice, and the team delegator, and exactly what problems each one of them solves. I'll teach you how to build your first custom GPT in 10 minutes, a working decision maker GPT you can use starting immediately, even if it's not perfect. And you'll also learn the iterative approach to creating AI tools, why done is always better than perfect, and how to improve your GPTs over time as you use them. So real talk, 3 months ago, I was on a call with a client, and she's the president of a sustainable fashion brand doing about $3 million in revenue, and she was exhausted, not from the work itself, but from explaining the same thing to ChatGPT and her team over and over and over again. I run a sustainable fashion brand. Our customer is a conscious consumer, 28 to 45 years old, values quality over fast fashion. Our brand voice is elevated but accessible. We don't use industry jargon. She would type that in every single time or copy paste it. And then she'd ask ChatGPT to write a product description for her. And she would get a generic response that sounded like every other fashion brand on the internet. She'd ask it to help her think through a vendor decision, and she would get textbook advice with zero context about her sustainability standards. She'd ask it to help her brainstorm content ideas. It had no memory of what she'd sent last month or what her brand values actually are. It's like Groundhog Day AI edition. Every conversation, ChatGPT wakes up with zero memory of who she is or what her business needs. Every conversation started from zero, and she was spending more time training ChatGPT than actually doing the work that she was using the tool for. And then I taught her about custom GPTs, and everything changed. A custom GPT is like hiring an AI employee who already knows your business. You train it with your voice, your values, your decision-making style, your methodologies, and from that point on, it just knows. It's the difference between Jarvis and Siri, for instance. I'm a Marvel fan, so I'm just letting you know. Siri on your phone needs you to explain everything every time. Jarvis, Tony Stark's robot assistant, already knows Tony Stark's preferences, priorities, sense of humor, decision-making patterns. That's a custom GPT. You don't have to re-explain. You don't have to give it context. You just ask your question and it responds like someone who's been working with you for months or even years. So my founder built her first custom GPT, a brand voice GPT for her fashion brand, and went from spending 30 minutes writing a product description to getting a first draft in 45 seconds that actually sounded like her brand. That's a 40x time savings. And here's what I realized working with her, and also with the president of a talent management agency and the founder of a legal consultancy. Every founder needs 3 custom GPTs. Not 10, not 20, but 3. They're foundational. They're basic even. And if you build these 3 custom GPTs, you've essentially created 3 AI employees who know your business and are available 24/7. And today I'm breaking down all 3 of those, what they are, why you need them, and then I'm teaching you how to build one of them right now in about 10 minutes. Let's go. All right, here's how this works. Part 1, I'm explaining the 3 custom GPTs that every female founder needs so that they can save themselves time and have easier access to scaling their business. I'm going to share what they are, why you need them, and what they solve. And then in part 2, I'm going to walk you through building one of them, the simplest one that gives you immediate value. And full transparency, this starter version will not be perfect. Custom GPTs are iterative. You build a basic version today, you use it, you learn from it, and you train it and improve it over time. That's how AI works. And that's how learning works. I mean, you would be doing the same with an actual human, so why would you expect anything different from a robot? The advanced versions of these GPTs with my exact training prompts and templates, those are inside my paid programs. But today, you're going to walk away with one working custom GPT. So let's start the overview. Remember, we're talking about the 3 different kinds of GPTs and what they are and why you need them. The first one is the decision maker. This is the first custom GPT that every founder needs. Consider the decision maker your AI business advisor or co-pilot or even co-founder who knows how you think, what your priorities are, and how you typically make decisions. So instead of overthinking and spinning on decisions alone, you can talk it through with your decision maker GPT. Why do you need this? I mean, here's the thing. As a founder, you're making thousands of decisions every single day. Should you say yes to a collaboration? Should you launch a new product line now or wait till a later quarter? Should you hire for this role or outsource it? Should you take on a new client or focus on your existing ones? Jeff Bezos calls these type 2 decisions. These are reversible decisions that don't require perfect information. And he says that most founders waste time treating type 2 decisions like type 1 decisions. So your decision maker GPT helps you move fast on the reversible stuff. Your decision maker GPT knows your business model, your revenue goals, your strategic priorities for the quarter, your decision-making values, for instance, speed versus perfection, or delegation versus control. It also knows your risk tolerance and past decisions you've made and why. So for instance, I have a client who runs a legal consultancy for startups, and she got approached about speaking at a legal tech conference. It was a paid opportunity. It was great visibility, but it was 4 days of travel during her busiest client delivery month. She asked her decision maker GPT, should I say yes to the speaking opportunity? And it walked her through her own framework. Does this align with your Q4 goal of delivering for existing clients or a Q1 goal of new business development? Given your stated priority of depth over breadth, will this audience convert to your ideal client? Given your stated priority of you previously declined speaking that requires more than 2 days away during delivery months, is this an exception? What's the opportunity cost of 4 days away from billable client work? And it went through all of those questions and then answered them. Within 5 minutes, she had her answer. No, this is a Q1 opportunity, not a Q4 one. No guilt, no FOMO, just clarity. And remember, the custom GPT isn't ultimately deciding for you, but it's reducing all the overthinking and friction that we spend on those type 2 decisions. Okay, the second GPT that every female founder needs is a brand voice GPT. My lady friend, if you do not have one of these yet, it is time, because this is your AI content partner that writes in your voice, not a generic AI voice, not an influencer voice, your voice. So you can create consistently without losing your authenticity. And here's what I see with founders. Inconsistent content, and I'm not talking content just on social, I'm talking content like communication with your team, town hall meetings, big deck presentations to your investors and board members. Inconsistent content is the biggest visibility killer inside and outside your company. And it's not because you don't know what to say, it's because you're reinventing your voice every single time you create something. You stare at a blank screen, you try to sound like yourself while also sounding professional, and you overthink every word. Or you're just straight up paralyzed by a blank page. Your brand voice GPT knows your brand personality, like are you bold, warm, irreverent, whatever your vibe is. It also knows your signature phrases, your metaphors, your stories, your content pillars and themes, examples of your best performing content or speeches, your audience's pain points and language, and what you would say and what you absolutely would not say. So if we think about that sustainable fashion brand, my founder built her brand voice GPT and trained it on her sustainability messaging, her brand values, and examples of her best product descriptions, among lots of other content. And she needed to write the product description for a new jacket made from recycled materials. Her old process? Somebody on her team likely would have spent 40 minutes of rewriting, checking brand guidelines, and asking if it sounded right. And then she would go back and rewrite the whole thing. The new process, she had her team use her brand voice GPT and ask it to write a product description for our recycled wool jacket. Emphasize sustainability without being preachy, make it aspirational but grounded. 45 seconds later, a description that perfectly captured her brand voice, a warm but elevated tone that referenced sustainability authentically, spoke to her conscious consumer without virtue signaling. It included the technical details her customers care about, and she didn't have to spend another hour rewriting the whole thing. She posted it with a couple tiny tweaks, and it became one of her highest converting product pages for that quarter. Okay, here's the last GPT that every female founder needs, the Team Delegator. And before we dive into this description of why you need this one, remember, we get to build one today, so hang in there with me. The third custom GPT is the Team Delegator. This helps you create clear delegation briefs so your team actually knows what you need and can execute without 20 follow-up questions. So right now, delegation probably sounds like this. Hey, can you handle this project? Or can you take care of the client communication around this topic? And then you might be shocked when what comes back isn't what you wanted. Michael Hyatt, a productivity expert, who is awesome, by the way, says the bottleneck is always at the top of the bottle. Most delegation failures happen because the leader didn't provide clear enough instructions. And good delegation requires clarity. What's the outcome? What's the timeline? What does success look like? What's included and what's not included? And what should they do if they get stuck, right? And I mean, I get it. If you are a founder of a startup, you are both doing the thing and leading the thing. And it is hard sometimes to slow down and check yourself and be really thorough, because writing all that out takes forever. Even explaining it out and hoping that somebody is actually, digesting what you're sharing takes a long time. And so you don't. And then you end up redoing the work yourself. The Team Delegator GPT writes the brief for you. Your Team Delegator knows your team's structure and who's responsible for what, the level of detail each team member needs. It knows your quality standards, your delegation language, and common questions that the team asks. So for instance, I work with a TV producer who was constantly frustrated with her production team. She would delegate something and it would come back wrong. Not because her team wasn't talented, but because her briefs were vague. She needed to delegate episode research for an upcoming episode, and instead of, can you research this topic, she asked her Team Delegator GPT, create a delegation brief for episode research on sustainable fashion for our lifestyle show. And it gave her, this is super cool, this is what the GPT said, multiple bullet points in this brief. Outcome, research deck with 5 to 7 interview candidates and 3 story angles delivered by Friday at 3 p.m. Include background on sustainable fashion trends, potential expert guests with contact info, story angles with emotional hooks, and B-roll location ideas. Not included, interview scheduling, that's the producer's role. Final story selection, the creative team decides. The success criteria, candidates have media experience, story angles align with our aspirational but accessible brand. Research is citation ready. Resources, link to past episode decks, brand guidelines, and target audience profile. And if you're stuck, Slack me if you find fewer than 5 qualified candidates or if story angles feel too technical. What a brief! That took, even me describing it to you here in this podcast took longer than that. Her researcher said it was the most helpful brief she'd ever received, and the research deck came back exactly as the producer needed it. 0 back and forth. So that's your strategic framework. The 3 custom GPTs that every female founder needs. The decision maker for strategic thinking, the brand voice GPT for consistent content, and the Team Delegator for clear delegation. Now, here's what we're doing. I'm going to teach you how to build the starter version of your decision maker GPT. It's the simplest one to start with, and it gives you immediate value. It's going to take us about 10 minutes. If you can't build it now, no worries. Listen through, understand the process, and come back later. But if you can build it right now, grab your laptop, open ChatGPT, and let's do this. This is going to be 5 steps, and before we start, I just want to get a few things straight. 1, this is a starter version. It will not be perfect. In fact, nothing you ever build the first time with AI is perfect. We're building a foundation that you're going to improve over time, and that is the whole point of custom GPTs. They get better as you use them. Number 2, you do need ChatGPT Plus or higher to create custom GPTs. So you need that $20 a month plan. If you don't have it yet, you can still listen and understand the process. The upgrade is $20 a month and worth every single penny. And then 3, I'm giving you a simple build process. The advanced version with my exact prompts and troubleshooting, that's inside my paid programs. So real talk, you're about to build something in 10 minutes that most people will overthink for 6 months and never touch. So here's your permission slip. Done beats perfect, always. And in this case, we need more action, not more planning. Remember, it's an iterative process, so planning to perfection makes no difference here. So let's start building. Step 1. First, log into ChatGPT. On the left sidebar, you'll see your chat history. And in that sidebar, you want to find Explore GPTs. Click it, and then find My GPTs, and click that. And then you'll see a button that says Create a GPT or Create. Click on the button, and you'll see 2 tabs, Create and Configure. We're going to stay on the Create tab for now. This is where ChatGPT helps you build your GPT conversationally, like you're talking to a friend. Got it? Step 1 done. Look how fast that was. Okay, step 2, tell it what you want. In the Create tab, you'll see the chat box at the bottom of the screen. You'll see the chat bar, and it'll say, what can I help you with? And here's exactly what to type, and you can literally copy this and adapt it. I want to create a decision maker GPT that helps me think through business decisions. It should know my business context, my priorities, and my decision-making style. It should ask me clarifying questions and help me evaluate options objectively. Type that into the chat bar and then press enter. ChatGPT is going to ask you some questions like, what kind of business do you run? What are your main priorities right now? What's your decision-making style? And if it's not asking you those questions, you can use those questions and just answer them. And all you need to do is just answer honestly. Don't overthink it. Just pretend you're talking to a smart assistant who just started working for you. You might say, I run a talent representing actors and content creators. Revenue goal is $2 million this year. My priorities are securing quality opportunities for my talent and maintaining strong relationships. And I value relationships over transactions. There you go. ChatGPT might also give you a lot of information, like an entire decision-making framework, from the description to the behavior context, to prompt starters, to personalizations that it will use to answer in bullets. You can read through all of that information, and if it seems good enough to go with it. You don't have to work that hard. But what I am going to do in my version is, even though it's given me a lot of that information, I'm going to give it what I just read to you. I run a talent management agency representing actors and content creators. My revenue goal is $2 million. My priorities are quality opportunities for my talent and maintaining strong relationships. And I value relationships over transactions. Even though it doesn't necessarily follow in line with the conversation, I'm going to put that in the chat bar anyway. And then I'm going to hit enter. And so what this is doing now is giving a little bit more context to your custom GPT. It's renaming my tool to Decision Partner for Talent Managers, and it's updating the configuration. Cool? So now that you've done this part, it has a little bit of information about your business, about how you make decisions, and about what your priorities are. Before we go on to step 3, quick vibe check. If you're building this right now, I just want you to know you're crushing it. You're about 60 seconds away from testing your first custom GPT. And if you're just listening and planning to build it later, totally fine. But when you do build it, this whole process takes about 10 minutes to get a reasonably good version up and running. Either way, this next part is where it gets fun. Okay, step 3. This is the fun part. We're going to test it. So what you'll see on the right side of your screen is a preview of your custom GPT. And this is where you can talk to it. So based on your business, I want you to ask it a real decision that you're facing now or have faced previously. Just something small for testing. So for example, I'm going to ask it, should I sign this new client? They're talented, but earlier in their career and need significant development time. So you get that these are really general questions and examples that we're using, but it still gives you good stuff to start with. So I'm putting this in the chat window on the right-hand side where it says preview and model. So I copy pasted it, and then I'm hitting the go arrow on that chat bar. What it's giving me back right now, it says, it depends on what you need right now and what you can afford to invest. Here's a structured way to decide based on how agencies and managers typically evaluate early stage but talented clients. And then it is running through an entire framework for me as a talent manager to decide whether or not to sign this client, and giving me reasons why not. Not a pro-cons list, a more detailed, thoughtful approach. And based on these questions or my answers to these questions, it can help me decide whether or not to sign that new client. And what's even more interesting is that it can help me retrain the left side of the model with more of my thinking and my approach. So what I would advise you to do is look at the questions that your test question gives you and answer those, and then put them back on the left side in the create bar. Cool? This is how you get to develop this to really follow your line of thinking. Once you've answered those questions, it'll give you that recommendation, but you'll notice that it's not giving you generic advice. It's using what you've already told it about your business to help you make that decision that's right for you. And that's the power of a custom GPT as opposed to just typing a question into a regular chat bar. So if the answer feels helpful, then great. If it feels off, say so in that left-hand side chat bar. You can say, that doesn't sound like my decision-making style. Here's how I actually think. And it will learn and adjust. Okay, now you've got something that's already working and that is learning from you. So step 4, save it. You got to save it. Once you're happy with your test, even if it's not perfect, click the button in the upper right-hand corner. It might say save, it might say create, and it'll ask you who can access this. Choose only me. This is private to you. Give it a name. Mine was called the Decision Maker for Talent Managers, but you can call it whatever you want, and then click create or confirm or save. And you're done. You've just built your first custom GPT. So step 5, here's what happens next. Your Decision Maker GPT is now available to you anytime. You'll see it in your My GPTs section. So when you open chat in the left-hand column under Explore GPTs, My GPTs, you'll see your custom GPT. And whenever you're facing a decision, just open it and ask. And the more you use it, the better it gets because you'll naturally give it more context as you talk to it. And after you've used it about 5 to 10 times, you might think, I wish it knew more about my financial goals, or I wish it asked about my energy levels, not just my time. Great. Then click on the top back into your GPT into the Configure tab, not the Creator tab, but the Configure tab, and add in that information. You can tell it, from now on, also consider my financial goals when helping me make decisions. My goal is to hit $3 million in revenue this year, and it will incorporate that going forward. That's what I mean by iterative. You build version 1 today, and we've done it in 10 minutes, and then version 2 happens naturally as you use it and refine it. So what just happened? Before this episode, every time you asked ChatGPT for advice, you may have been starting from zero, re-explaining your business model, your priorities, your decision-making style. Now you have an AI advisor who already knows all of that. You just saved yourself at least 5 to 10 minutes of context setting on every single decision you'll ever make. And here's what nobody tells you. The founders who are pulling ahead right now aren't smarter than you, and they are definitely not working harder. They just stopped treating AI like a search engine and started treating it like a team member. That's the shift. That's the whole game. And you just did something 97% of ChatGPT users will never do. You built a custom AI tool that actually knows something about you and your business. And that is not incremental, that is transformational. So you might be wondering, what about the Brand Voice GPT or the Team Delegator GPT? Well, here's the thing. Those two are more nuanced to build. The Brand Voice GPT requires extracting your best content examples, identifying your voice patterns, training it on what you will and won't say. And working with my founders, I spend anywhere from 1 to 3 hours training their Brand Voice GPTs with their product descriptions, captions, email newsletters. And now my founders use them for everything from product copy to investor updates to keynote speeches. And the Team Delegator GPT requires defining your delegation framework, inputting your team member working styles, and building in your quality standards. So my TV producer client built hers with delegation briefs for research, editing, and talent coordination. And now her team knows exactly what she wants the first time. Could you figure those out on your own? Absolutely. But here's what happens when founders try to build these alone. They upload random content examples or just try to get it done as fast as possible rather than strategically. And what happens is then your custom GPT writes like generic AI. And then you spend a lot more time tweaking it and you give up and never use it. And the difference between a custom GPT that sits unused and one that saves you hours a week is the training strategy. So here's where you get guides for those 3 GPTs. First, you join the Insider email community at hellodawn.live/insider. Every month, insiders get exclusive invitations to our build days where we build these GPTs together live. There's Q&A time, there's real-time troubleshooting, and there's immediate access to complete build guides, training prompts you can copy, and video walkthroughs. Like we build it and we do it together. And the next build day is coming up. We're building Brand Voice GPTs, and that's the one that writes your emails, content, client communication, and in your voice. And the spots are capped at 15 founders so that everyone gets support. If you're not on the insider email, you won't even know when it's happening. So go to hellodon.live/insider and get on the list. Okay, let's recap what we covered today. The 3 custom GPTs every female founder needs. The decision maker GPT, your strategic thinking partner. The brand voice GPT, which is your content creation partner. And the Team Delegator GPT, which is the delegation brief writer. That's potentially 16 hours back per week. You also learned that custom GPTs are not that complicated. They're conversational. You teach them what they need, they learn, you refine, and it's iterative. Version 1.0 is never perfect, but that is not the point. The point is to start, use it, learn from it, and improve it. So if you loved your decision maker GPT and you're thinking, I want the other 2, and I don't want to figure this out alone, here's what you do. Get on the insider email list at hellodon.live/insider. This is where I invite you to exclusive build days. These are private sessions where we actually build together. And those build days include step-by-step guides, training prompts that are ready to copy, video walkthroughs, and first access to new AI tools that I'm developing. One insider, a talent manager, told me that her brand voice GPT writes her client pitch emails for her now. She said, it sounds more like me than I do when I'm rushing. You just built one GPT solo in 10 minutes. Imagine what you can build when you're on the insider email and you get invited to the next workshop. So visit hellodon.live/insider and get on the list. All right, my lovely, here is your action step for today. Use that decision maker GPT. Don't let it sit there. Open it right now and ask it a real decision you're facing this week. Most founders are still using AI like it's a search engine, but you just built your AI employee. So that is not incremental improvement, that is a competitive advantage. And you don't have to figure the rest of it out alone. That's what the community is for. That's how you stay ahead, and that's how you use AI like a CEO, not like everyone else. I'll see you on Thursday for a quick hit episode, and maybe I'll see you at the next Insider Build Day. Until then, I'm Dawn Andrews, and you're listening to She's That Founder. Have the very best day, lovey.